Welcome to the Holistic Entrepreneur with holistic nurse practitioner, success coach, and best-selling author, Bonnie Groessl. Bonnie and her expert guests share tips, tools, and strategies to achieve success on your holistic entrepreneur journey. Each show features answers to common entrepreneur challenges, along with a healthy dose of support and motivation. Now, please welcome the host of the Holistic Entrepreneur, Bonnie Groessl.
Welcome, everyone. This is Bonnie Groessl, your host here at the Holistic Entrepreneur. Now, this is the first week of the month, so we're going to do a group angel reading today, and I'm going to get to that in just a moment. But first, I always want to take a moment to thank all of you for spending your valuable time here with me on the show. I am so honored that you do that because I know that time is our most precious asset. So I always want to make sure that these shows are value-packed so that you feel your time was well spent. Now, I think being a holistic entrepreneur is really more about who you are than what you do. You actually may have a corporate job, but you got that entrepreneur spirit. You can do your work in that way. You know, you come from that heart-centered place. You want to make a difference in the world. And perhaps that's why you decided to join us on the show today. So if this is your first time listening, welcome. And if you've tuned in before, welcome back. I hope that you find this will be another great show with insights to help you on your entrepreneur journey. Now make sure you check out the show page before you leave. There's always a gift for you there, and there's links to connect with me as well. Because, maybe you have a message that you'd like to share with the world. I always love having new guests on the show, so reach out to me if you would like to reach people with your message. And we'll talk about being a guest on the show. I'd love to have you. Now, I always want to remind people that the information presented here is educational, inspirational, and motivational in nature, but I always want you to just take what fits for you and simply let go of the rest. This show does not intend or imply to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment either. I always want to preface every show with that little reminder for all of us, especially on a day where we do a group angel reading. Now, speaking of group angel readings, for the foreseeable future, I'll continue to do these the first week of each month. That may change in the next year, I'm not sure. But one thing that is going to change in December, so that's next month, is at the beginning of every show, I'm going to do just one card, just one, unless one pops out, then there'll be two, but just one simple reading at the beginning of each show. And that's because I think we need reinforcement, reassurance, things that we already know. We just need reminders every week, not just once a month. So I'm going to do the larger reading the first week of the month, but then starting in December of 2019, I'll add just one simple reading before each show. So if I have a guest on the show or I'm doing a solo show, it'll be just the first few minutes of that episode so that every week somebody gets a little something. And then as far as I foreseeable future, at least, I will continue the larger group readings on the first week of each month, which is what we're doing today. Now that may change, but I think we'll just kind of see what the audience really likes. If they like just a little bit every week and they don't necessarily need the big, first week of the month larger reading, or if we should just keep it as at that. So I'll kind of take my guidance from you because that's why I do this. I don't really do this for me. I do this for all of you. And I've thought about stopping the show from time to time. And I know the Gift of Choice show is on hiatus right now, but something just makes me feel like I can't let it go. I can't let you guys down. So anyway, I will continue and we'll do a small reading each week so that those of you who really enjoy those angel readings get a little taste of it. And then you don't have to listen to the rest of the show if it's not of interest to you, but at least you'll have that first few minutes with a reading for the week. So that's kind of my plan starting in December. Now let's get into our reading for today. The cards, the decks actually that came to me were Daily Guidance with the Angels, and then Archangel Raphael, which I have not drawn from this deck in a while, and that's the Angel of Healing, as you might recall. And I put everyone's intentions that I hear from or that connect with me from month to month in sort of my preparation for doing the reading. And there were some health issues going on this last month, and so that's possibly why Raphael jumped out. I'm not sure. So that's the second deck we're working with. And then the third deck is Angel Therapy. So I have not seen these cards, so I don't know. You're going to be So I'll see what messages there are for all of us at the same time you do. And like I say on every show, it's about what resonates with you. And you know if it does, and maybe it will today, or maybe it will, 2 months from now or a year from now. And having said that, I also want to remind you that it really doesn't matter if you hear the show when it's first aired in November of 2019, or if you're listening to it later, because time is not linear, so it's really whatever you need to hear, you're going to hear, and it's going to resonate with you at the time that it's meant to. So let's get into the reading. Now, the first deck, again, is from the Daily Guidance, and the first card that comes to us is Focus on Service. Now, this card really wanted to be found because this card kind of jumped out right away. And as I hold this card, and by the way, as a reminder, I'll put an image, a picture. It'll just be something you can download and look at all the cards that I'm using today so that you can see what I'm seeing. So, Focus on Service. What comes to me as I hold this card, and the message that they're asking me to share with you, is that service should be fun. It should be enjoyable. And if this message is for you, if it makes your heart sing when you can help someone, when you can make someone smile. And it doesn't have to be in what you do for a living necessarily. It can be anything. I mean, I told the story before about a toll booth person who made my day just because of how pleasant she was. That is service. It's not just like work stuff. It's service is bigger than that. And so, your soul desires to be joyful as you serve. I mean, that's why you do it. And the image on this card is of a beautiful angel, they're all beautiful, on a unicorn, which I think it's just lovely, a lovely picture. So I'll put all of these images in a picture for you so that you can see what I'm seeing. But the focus on service, the big message that they want me to share with you is that it may be like something you get paid to do, like your job or your work, but it might just be being of service to others in any way, shape, or form, and it should be joyful. The second card that comes from this deck is Daydream. And I love this card because it's a good reminder for all of us. We don't daydream enough. We worry about things, which is kind of a form of daydreaming, but this card wants you to daydream about what you want your life to be like. And just kind of let it go. You don't have to organize it and have it all laid out. It's really about the feeling. That's the message they want me to pass on to you today, is when you daydream, you don't necessarily have to create the scene and how it's exactly going to look, but do focus on the feeling, how it feels in your daydream, and then just kind of let it go, let it evolve. And the third card from this deck, I love this card, especially following the Daydream card, is to go for it. Because sometimes we're just, we hold back because we have the imposter syndrome, or we don't think we can do it, or we're afraid of failure or success, but we hold back and we don't go for it. This is a reminder to go for it. And it's going to work out. Your prayers and expectations, all the things that you've been daydreaming about, are coming true. So just go for it. Now, the next card deck that we are dealing with is Archangel Raphael, which is, as I said earlier, the angel of healing. And so the first card that comes to us is Use Your Natural Healing Abilities. I love this because we forget how much power we have over our own healing. And I could go on and on with stories as examples of that, and I'm not going to take your time to do that today, but it's just a reminder to know that we all have self-healing abilities. So use those self-healing natural abilities. And you may need, medication or surgery or whatever as well, but don't forget about all the power that you have just within you. And then the next card is Sobriety. Now, to me, when I hold this card, sobriety, as a lot of people think about, has to do with alcohol. To me, sobriety is freeing yourself of any addiction. Can be alcohol, can be food, can be shopping, can be whatever. It can be all kinds of things. So to me, this is more about being whole and true to yourself. You don't need all those other things, whether it's cigarettes or drugs or alcohol or sex or shopping or food or whatever. Sobriety means being okay just with you the way you are and not needing those extra things, which, any addiction, in my definition, is any addiction is something that is filling a need that is otherwise not being met. And to me, that's what the sobriety card is talking about. And now we go to the final deck, which is the angel therapy cards. And this card is Be Willing to Forgive. Now, I think there's a interesting message here, because what I get when I hold this card, and what really the message that comes to me is being willing to forgive often has more to do with forgiving yourself than other people. So perhaps there's something that you wish you would have done differently, or you said that you wish you didn't say, or did that you wish you hadn't done, or maybe you had an addiction issue. Whatever it is, be willing to forgive. And certainly, forgiving other people, because unforgiveness only holds you a prisoner. But the biggest one, I think, is you. So be willing to forgive yourself. That's the huge message that I get when I hold this card and feel the essence of it. And then the last card that comes to us from this deck, Angel Therapy, is God Box. And this is about putting all your worries, your concerns, your fears, your whatever into sort of a box, a God box. And some people actually do this. I've done this from time to time, where I'll write it down on a piece of paper and put it into a box, and then it's sort of in that place. You can use an actual box if you like. I've had patients to do this in the past as well. Or you can do an imaginary box. But the point is being willing to let it go, to give it to God, so to speak, whatever God is to you. So you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to have the burden, whatever the burden is, all by yourself. So as we look at these cards all together now, and it's interesting how they always tell a story, we began with focusing on service, which could be your work and what you do for a living or your job, or it can just be service to other people. Smiling at a stranger on the street to brighten their day. To me, that's what service is. It's beyond what you do for a living. And then we're reminded to daydream the positive stuff, right? Daydream about what you want. Pretend as though you're already there, as opposed to worry, which is another form of daydreaming, actually. But daydream about the good stuff, the stuff you want to happen, and feel, right? It's all about the feeling. Feel as though you already have it. It's already there. And then we're reminded to go for it. If there's something that, you're daydreaming about, and it caused, you need to do a certain thing or take a certain action, go for it. It's going to work out. That's what is meant to happen. And then, especially if you're dealing with, any health type of issues, and whether that be physical or emotional or spiritual health, it really doesn't matter. Use your healing abilities, your natural self-healing abilities. We all have them, and we forget how we can heal ourselves. And so it's a good reminder for all of us, because we need to heal ourselves all the time from little things, and maybe there's something big going on in your life. Again, recruit the power of that inner healer that we all have. And then the sobriety card, as I mentioned before, sobriety, sometimes people think of that as only alcoholism or something like that. To me, it's any addiction, which an addiction is meeting some need that's not otherwise being met. So this is a reminder that you're whole just the way you are. You don't need anything else. You don't need an addiction of any kind to make you feel whole. You're whole all by yourself. And then be willing to forgive. And the biggest message that came to me with this card was to be willing to forgive yourself. So maybe there is something, some sort of addictive behavior that you've had in the past. Forgive yourself for that. All you have to do is choose again. Start over, choose again. And of course, maybe there's something you said or did or whatever that you wish you wouldn't have. Again, forgive yourself. And certainly forgiveness for other people as well, because it doesn't hurt them if you're not forgiving them, but it hurts you. So forgiveness is just so, so powerful. And then the last card that came to us, kind of to tie this all together, is if you're struggling with any of these things, or you're doubting any of these things, or you're afraid that something isn't going to work right or whatever, remember the God box, right? Either use a physical box and write it on a piece of paper, stick it in there, or using it in something in your imagination, or just pray. Giving it to God so that you don't have to walk the path all by yourself. We never, ever, ever have to be alone. We're never alone. There's always help for us. There's always help in guidance, whether it's an earth angel, an etherical angel, God, the universe, whatever your belief system is, we're never alone. So I love how these cards tell the story and give us, I think, good things to think about, reminders of things we already know as we head into the month of November for 2016. And then next week we'll have a regular show, but at the very beginning of the show, I will do just a simple reading, just one card, unless, another one jumps out or something, and then I'll do two. But at the beginning of each show, starting in December, not this month, but starting in December, I will incorporate that into every show. So for those of you who really enjoy the angel readings, you can just listen to the first, 5 minutes or whatever, and then you don't have to listen to the rest of the show if it's not of interest to you. But that way you'll have the angel reading for the week. And every week, the show airs on a Tuesday, so it's kind of your message for the week from Tuesday forward. So I hope that you enjoyed the angel reading for today, and I will see you next week virtually. And until then, blessings, everyone, and know that anything is possible as long as you believe.
You've been listening to The Holistic Entrepreneur, hosted by Bonnie Groessl. The Holistic Entrepreneur has been brought to you by M&B Global Solutions, your source for individualized coaching for entrepreneurs and authors, along with book editing and publishing services. To learn more, go to mandbglobalsolutions.com.